Howdy y'all, welcome. Y'all may notice I'm back from vacation, a well-needed vacation at that, and of course a lot has happened since I've been down there. For example, the flooding down in Texas, which has claimed over 100 lives and over 100 people are still missing down there. Hopefully they find those people that are still missing. Heart goes out to y'all down there, as Mother Nature comes out of nowhere sometimes. So it reminds me of the hazard event as well. And of course, we had Tropical Storm Chantel that hit North Carolina, and of course, we were heading back as this tropical storm made landfall. Unfortunately, didn't get any sort of tropical storm cloud footage from the Great Smoky Mountains, but I did get some footage from my dad that he took when he did hear some thunder out there in the Great Smoky Mountains, so that was pretty cool. And we can see that from July 6th through the 11th, there's even going to be even more rainfall. It's going to be taking over really much of the south central, north central, and really much of the eastern part of the country, but I'm not expecting anything like we had on July 4th down here in Texas, as over 100 some lives have been taken down there, and there's still even more missing. So my heart goes out to y'all down there in Texas, and even down here in North Carolina, as well, as that tropical storm rolled through and brought a lot of heavy rainfall, and actually a record amount of rainfall as well. And there was even a record amount of rainfall in New Mexico, which y'all do need to rain down there, but that is way too much rain. And of course, here is how you can help. Of course, there's many other ways you can help. This is a small fund that is local to y'all down there in Hill Country. Rebuild Texas Fund. 100% of every dollar donated is reinvested in the community down there. So make sure you find a good charity to donate that's not going to rip people off. Red Cross, they're okay, but not 100% of the funds go to help the victims that are affected by the floods. So again, it'll be a long road to recovery down there, and so this sort of reminds me of the Hazard Kentucky event back in 2022. Let's go ahead and get into the forecast here. And I want to change it up for y'all today and take a look at the precipitation. You can see that above average precipitation is going to be expected for much of the central, a little bit of the northwest, northeast, southeast, and south central part of the country, and a little bit of the southwest as well. Now, y'all don't need it down here, but of course, some areas are still surprisingly dealing with some drought conditions, and it's looking like out here in the west central and northwest, it's going to be a little bit below average. And next 8 to 14 days, it's looking like really the whole entire country, except for a little sliver up here in the northwest, is going to be coming in on above average precipitation. And I'll show you all the drought map as well. We can see that this was last updated on July 3rd. The data is only valid on July 1st, so this is actually old data. We can see the Southwest still dealing with some drought conditions, and of course, this probably is old news by now, and most of these areas are obviously not in any sort of drought conditions because of the flooding that's been going on here as of late. So now that we know that much of the country is going to come into above average precipitation, let's go ahead and take a look at whether or not we're going to come back into an uptick in some severe weather or not. We can see, of course, here on Hump Day, much of the eastern part of the country is coming in on some very soggy conditions. Northeast, and really much of the central and western part of the country is coming in on some relief. Some spotty showers up here in the northwest, some spotty showers up here in the north central part of the country today. It's looking like as we move later into the week and into the weekend, could be coming in on some very soggy conditions really for much of the central and eastern part of the country. So just be aware of that. Some weekend plans could get ruined, unfortunately. And it's looking like the western part of the country is going to be pretty dry. Up here by Canada is going to be wet, of course. And this could also mean uptick in some severe weather as well, since it's going to be very soggy and potentially hot as well. If we take a look at the lightning flash density rate, we can see that this is where the most intense storms are going to be firing up at. See, there could be some intense storms down here in central Texas where y'all don't need it. Up here in the north central part of the country is going to be dealing with some spotty severe weather. And it's looking like severe weather could return as we head into this weekend, especially over here by Iowa. And it's just looking like it's going to be a very soggy and stormy weather pattern as we head into the middle and potentially the end of the month. And we can see the next 8 days. See, there is a slight risk for the next couple of days, and then there's a marginal risk, but I would expect there to be an uptick in some severe weather as we head into the middle of the month. And keep in mind that we're in the midst of hurricane season and severe weather season, so keep that in mind that severe weather can still happen, although it's sort of winding down a little bit. It can still happen, y'all. And speaking of hurricanes, they're not out there in this Atlantic, Eastern Pacific, or the Central Pacific, so that's some good news after coming in on Flossie last week and that tropical storm that made landfall over here by the Carolinas. Of course, I wish I would have got footage of it, but I didn't. We headed back right when that tropical storm made landfall, unfortunately, so I didn't really capture any sort of storm clouds other than the one that we captured when I was down there. We actually heard thunder in the distance. It was actually storming on top of the mountain, so that was very, very cool. and take a look at the simulated infrared radar to see if there's going to be any sort of tropical storms or hurricanes or any sort of activity in the future. You can see that we do have a lot of precipitation out here, out by the Caribbean, Florida area. Just west of Africa, there's going to be some systems rolling off of there, and it's looking like those are going to start to fizzle out though. But of course, we are in the midst of hurricane season. We got to keep an eye on these systems here. If anything does form, then I'll be keeping y'all informed on, of course, X and Facebook and on here. As far as the sea surface temperatures go, of course, the Gulf is really starting to heat up drastically, while the main development region is still remaining in a little bit of a cool pattern, especially off the coast of Africa, but expect that to really heat up as we head further into July and towards the end of the month. And as far as the Pacific Basin goes, has been very active out there compared to the Atlantic. The sea surface temperatures are worked over because Flossie moved over these favorable sea surface temperatures, and that's why they are sort of cooled down a little bit. But expect those to heat up a little bit as we head into the middle and toward the end of the month. So there could be some activity as we head into the end of the month. And of course, out here by Hawaii, pretty calm out there. Expecting a below average hurricane season out there though. And as we take a look at the simulated infrared radar, we can see do have some precipitation off the coast of Mexico, but not really too worried about anything, especially out here by Hawaii. Not expecting anything out there. Of course, you'll typically see your hurricanes and tropical storms as we head into September and October time frame. It's really when hurricane season starts to get ramped up, and we are in the midst of hurricane season by that time. So slow start in the Atlantic, rapid start in the Pacific Basin, but expect that to change as we head further into hurricane season, as that could flip, as the Pacific Basin could start to slow down. The Atlantic Basin could start to pick up rapidly here very soon. And as we take a look at the risk of heavy precipitation, we can see the southwest is going to be coming in on a moderate risk of heavy precipitation. And of course, as we take a look at the southwest, we can see that the reason why they issued the moderate risk for heavy precipitation is because there's going to be right around 2 to possibly 4 inches of rainfall on top of what's already fell down there. And we can see out east, I did say all the way through the 11th, there's going to be a lot of precipitation. We can see just this right here, and really as we push this even further, we can see that, of course, further go out, the more uncertainty there is, but possibly 2 to 4 inches of rainfall expected as we head towards the end of the month, especially out here by the Carolinas. And this is pretty unusual. I mean, we usually are pretty dry this time of year. July is, I think, the second most driest month compared to August anyway, but we'll take it. We're not complaining. And of course, I was down there in Tennessee last week, and it was actually pretty dry down there, surprisingly. And of course, y'all are going to be getting well-needed rain down there. And of course, down by Texas, hopefully all those hundreds of people that are missing are found. And hopefully y'all get the relief that you need as well. But it's looking like more rainfall is going to be occurring as we head towards the end of the month, unfortunately, on top of what's already occurred. That's Mother Nature, y'all. Mother Nature's unpredictable and can come out of nowhere sometimes, and hopefully y'all get the relief that you need. So now that we know that's going to be pretty much a soggy end to the month for really much of the country, let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures of what we could expect first. Take a look at the temperature outlook by the Climate Prediction Center. It's showing us that the central part of the country from Montana and the Dakotas all the way down into Texas is going to be a little bit below average. Now, this don't mean it's going to be cold as a bone out there, but it does mean that we could be coming in on some relief from the heat. And it's looking like the eastern part of the country, including the northeast and southeast and midwest, mid-Mississippi Valley and out west, is going to be a little bit above average, which could mean some scorching heat as we head into the end of the month. Next 8 to 14 days, it's looking like this is going to change as more of the country is going to be heading into near normal temperatures to below average, especially down here in the southwest. But if you live up here in the northeast and southeast, a little bit of south central and western part of the country, it's looking like as we head towards the end of the month, well above average temperatures, which what else is new? It is summertime. And the Climate Prediction Center did put out a risk of hazardous temperatures all the way through the 18th. We can see a slight risk for that out here out in the west central part of the country and a little bit of the northeast as well. So definitely going to be coming in on a heat wave, and let's go take a look at that. Now, of course, we can see today that much of the country is going to be dealing with some very, very hot temperatures. What else is new? It is summertime. This is going to continue all the way into the weekend. It looked like we could be coming into a little bit of a cooling trend, though. The Climate Prediction Center did say that we could be coming in on below average temperatures here in the central part of the country, from North Dakota and Montana all the way down into Texas. And as we head into the end of the month, they did issue a slight risk for hazardous temperatures up in the northeast and west central part of the country. We can see just this 100-degree temperatures possible out west and 100-degree temperatures possible up here in the northeast. But expect a little bit of a cooling trend as we head into the end of the month. That's why they issue the below average temperatures here. And as I zoom in here to take a look at the 16th through the 18th, we can see 100-degree temperatures possible within their time frame of the slight risk for hazardous temperatures. We take a look at the feels like temperatures. Could be coming in on near 100-degree indices out there, so definitely be aware of this, especially down here in Southern California, which, I mean, it is summertime. What else is new? It's typical for this time of year. But what the unusual part is that we are going to be coming in on a lot of precipitation for this month, and usually it's dry as a bone. And as we take a look at the northeast this time frame, the apparent temperatures anyway, really the same story up there as well, so definitely prepare for even more heat. So this heat wave is going to continue all the way into the end of the month in the northeast and the southwest, while the central part of the country is going to be coming in on some cooler than normal, but still hot temperatures. Now let's go ahead and take a look at something we haven't taken a look at in a good long time on here, which is the 500 millibar height anomalies. This shows us our troughs and ridges. Don't know what that means. Basically, a trough is where it's warm or hot and typically dry, while a trough brings cooler weather and sort of suckier weather, pretty much, basically what that means. We can see here as we head into the weekend, could be coming in on a little bit of a trough here in the central part of the country, dropping those temperatures down. Could be bringing some stormy weather and some soggy weather here in the central and a little bit of the eastern part of the country as well. And then we're going to be coming back into a little bit of a ridge as we head into next week. And then the trough's going to be coming back again. So it's looking like as we head into the middle and end of the month, we could be coming in on a troughing and ridging pattern where 1 week we're dealing with a major ridge, bringing hot temperatures and dry weather as well. Then the next week we could be dealing with a trough where it could wipe out those hot temperatures and bring some severe weather and some very soggy weather with it as well. So basically, to sum this all up, I would expect it to be very hot in this west central part of the country and in the northeast as we head into the middle and end of the month. And honestly, it's going to be very hot out east and west, while it's going to be a little bit below average, but still a bit hot from Montana into the Dakotas all the way down into Texas. And as far as precipitation goes, much of the country is going to be heading into a very soggy pattern with some severe weather potential as we head towards the end of the month. And of course, that can will change, and we'll keep you all updated, of course. As far as tropical activity goes, not much expected out there in the next 7 days in the Atlantic and the Pacific. But the can will change, and we'll let you know on X and Facebook if that does change, and I'll also keep you updated on here as well, as we are heading into the meat and potatoes of hurricane season, which I'm expecting the activity to pick up as we head towards the end of the month, and especially into August. So definitely keep your guard up if you live out here in the coastal states, even down here in Mexico as well, as y'all have been coming in on a very intense hurricane season down there. In the Atlantic, it has been very quiet other than that tropical storm that made landfall, but keep this in mind. Takes 1 or 2 big hurricanes to make it a big hurricane season. I will keep you all updated, by the way, as well. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that little short weather forecast. If you did, please make sure you hit that like button and share button so more folks are informed about the weather. Also, leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, as feedback helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because at Hero Williams Weather we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. So again, have a great day, y'all. Make sure you go follow my X and Facebook pages as well. Post a daily newspaper on there called the Weather Chronicle. Break down pretty much everything from sports weather to interesting astronomical events to any and everything weather. So again, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all y'all for watching. Have a great day. Stay cool, stay dry, and until next time, never stop forecasting.